Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, and I am a weight loss empowerment coach who has lost 100 pounds and have been living my life in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 73 pounds and continuing my journey to lose another 100. Together, we will explore the ups and downs and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible, no matter where you are on your path. This is our very first episode, so we're starting with the most important truth, our own stories. Let's get into it.
I am so excited, April. So, I would love to know about your story. If you could share with us what your weight loss journey has been like.
Yeah, so for me, I have been living a life of being overweight since my very young teens. I was brought to Weight Watchers at I don't know, 11, 12. I battled binge eating for most of my life to cope with life. And my childhood was very, very difficult. And it was a very tough environment. And that was just what I was taught. My mom and I would go out to eat to deal with the situation at home. And it's how I taught how to take care of myself. So throughout the years, I would keep trying to lose weight because I knew the weight on me. I had gotten to over 300 pounds probably in my early 20s. So I've been significantly overweight since then because I'm just turned 49 in November. So it's been a while. And I've lost weight, I've gained it, I've lost it. Very typical story of many of us.
Mhm.
And my journey really changed in 2019 when I found No BS, which is a weight loss program. But I really joined because when I listened to the free podcast of that program, I was hearing her talk, and she just was so just listening to her own voice. She just sounded like a person who didn't take any crap from anybody and
That's the
knew what
truth.
she needed and listened to that. And I thought that is what I'm missing in my life. I'm listening to everybody else's voice except my own. And so I really joined No BS for the foundation of what I feel the program is, which is women's self-empowerment. And I think that key leads to lasting weight loss. So um, I've done a lot of work with that, and I've lost the 73 pounds, and I'm working on more. And I also got certified because it really means a lot to me that finding out about coaching and finding out how listening to yourself and strengthening that relationship with your inner voice and hearing it over everybody else's. I just want other women to realize that that's really the key for themselves in any program that they choose.
And that's so interesting that you said that because I think, the way we grew up, I mean, often we are told that, you know, not that we aren't told that women are less, but it's different in society. So to be a part of a program and a group of women that empower each other, I mean, that's
Yes,
uplifting for sure.
absolutely. I agree 100%. We're always, society has changed, but it's not at the same time. And
Yeah.
as women, we are often told we're not doing it right, we're not doing enough, we're not good enough, just all of those things.
Yeah. And it's challenging those thoughts. I mean, my favorite thing that I've learned, I think, in this weight loss journey is just because we've always thought it and believed it doesn't mean we always have to continue thinking it and believing it.
Oh, 100%. And that's something that I know we're going to talk about a lot in upcoming episodes because I know you and I know myself, and I have changed so much just on a day-to-day basis, not even just weight loss, just my life and how I handle things, how I handle relationships. It's nowhere near the person I was years ago, even just 5 years ago. Very different.
It's so crazy. So on your weight loss journey, when you started with No BS, what was the big aha moment that had you know that this is what you needed to do and you were committed to your success?
And so it's such an interesting question because for me, I don't think there's just one. I have many significant, I would say like I have a top five, top
Yeah.
10 of aha moments that really changed my life. But I would say one of the biggest ones for me really was learning that concept that we all know what to do for us, but because throughout our whole life, so I'm 49, so for 40 plus years of my life, I've been looking to everybody else to tell me what is right. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do I need? And really not hearing me inside my head. And we all have those thoughts. They're like, and she talked about in the program, and I forget the name. I don't know if is it John Acuff who did the soundtracks?
Yes, yes.
He talks about like raising the volume, lowering the volume. It's such a huge truth that your brain tells you, your gut tells you, your heart tells you, and they are little whispers because we're not trained to hear them. But when you learn that and you practice that, because it does take practice, it does become louder. And eventually your voice inside your head is louder than somebody else who's saying something to you. And that was a big thing for me to realize. Um, and like I said, even just in relationships, it was such a huge thing on how I handled interactions of family, friends, work relationships, of what somebody might say to me at work. I would internalize it and go eat a Snickers bar. It was just like I would get so worked up and feel like, oh, what they just said to me has to be true because they just said it. But learning that somebody can say something or even think it or even believe it, that's their perception. And why is their perception higher ranked than my own perception of me? That was so huge for me.
Isn't it amazing when we realize that what power it gives us to
Mhm.
just move forward, like just
Yes.
powerful.
Yep.
So in your journey so far, with the success of losing 73 pounds, what has been your biggest win?
Being proud of losing 73 and not focusing on the other 100 I have to lose.
April, I am so happy to hear you say that because so many people are like, oh, I've only lost 73 pounds. I still have.
Yeah.
And it's like, look at
And
everything you've done.
And did you hear the pause? Because I internally corrected myself because I was going to say being proud of not only losing, I was going to say it. And then I
Yeah.
was like, no, taking out that word only changes that sentence so much. So when you say I've only lost 73, it's such a defeating sound. But when you say I've lost 73 and I'm working on 100 more, like that to me just sounds much more positive. And that's huge for me because that definitely was not the way I looked at things a couple of years ago, for sure.
And it's amazing how just that little switch changes everything for what
Changes
that
everything.
sentence is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we celebrate wins, but we also learn from our lessons. And those are, I think, just as much worth I think celebrating what we learn is as important as celebrating our wins. So what has
Yeah.
been your biggest lesson?
I want to say that my biggest lesson, I think, would be that I learned the art of having compassion for myself. So, being a binge eater and using that as a coping mechanism is very much followed up with um, gonna get a little emotional. It's very much packed with beating yourself up, feeling less than, feeling weak, feeling stupid. Just all the things you could think of, you say to yourself after you've just, anybody who does binge can understand, you just shove food in your face without thinking. And then afterwards, you just feel like this big pile of goo. And emotionally, physically, you don't feel good. And I would try to work on that and overcome it through my whole life practically, and really learning the lesson that compassion moves you forward. It was just a game changer for me. I i would binge daily, multiple times a day. It was a lot. I now, there are still occasions I do. It's very far and few between. Months will go by. I won't even have an urge or desire to do something, and then something may happen. But when it does happen still, I don't, I truly do not beat myself up. I don't think anything negative. I might be disappointed, like that really sucked. I really shouldn't have handled it that day, but I did. And what happened? What can I learn from this? How can I move forward? And I just pick myself up the next day. Maybe it's a few days, but having the compassion to know that my body, my brain, for 40 years of my life thought this is how I take care of her.
Mhm.
It was still trying to take care of me for whatever triggered it. And I just have to do a little extra work to think about what triggered it and to say, it's okay. This is what we're going to do today. And that compassion was a big lesson that and not just a lesson, but a gift. It's just changed the whole situation for myself.
And I love that you said lesson and a gift because that
Yes.
I think when we learn that our failures and the things that we are learning from are not they're not negatives. They're positive. They are our stepping stones to learn to get to our goals. Like if we don't learn and do the same things we've always been doing, we're going to be who we always were. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And that's where I want to hear about you. What have
Oh,
you learned and what are your lessons? What's your story?
well, mine's a little bit different from you because I didn't have weight issues when I was growing up. I was so thin. And I look back at pictures and I think, wow, you really were so tiny. But then I grew up in a home that we had some food insecurity. And when I went off to college, it was like, oh my gosh, I can eat whatever I want. And, so I started eating all the things and because I could. And I, in my early 20s, started the 30-year journey with yo-yo dieting. I
Yeah,
have, I've eaten more green beans in one sitting than any person in the world should eat. And I wouldn't eat green beans for a couple of years after. But
I bet.
It like, I always thought I was successful at whatever weight loss program I was a
Mm.
part of when I lost the weight, and then when I gained again, it was like I would go back to that same program thinking, "Oh, it worked before," and, what I've learned is we talk so much about all those programs that have worked for us in the past, but if we're
Mhm.
still working on losing weight, did it really work? I think we convince ourselves that they are working. And so, my 49th birthday, I knew I had to because I've gone up and down. I gained 110 pounds in 5 years, maybe 6 years. So that was and when I look back, I can see the things that kind of triggered the overeating and over drinking and I think probably I love the fact that I've lost 100 pounds, but that's just it's a side effect of everything else I've learned. So, I
And with that being said, what was your aha moment that for you was the pivotal moment that you were like, this is what is different for me. This is what I need to work on to achieve this.
it was actually my 49th birthday. I was out with Kevin for everybody. April and I are so lucky. We both have our own very own Kevin.
Yeah.
So I'll try not to confuse you. They are two separate people.
Yes.
So we were out with a bunch of friends and I was so drunk. And when I woke up in the morning, I thought it really was a really tough spot to be in that morning. And I just realized I had let myself become somebody that I knew but didn't know all at the same time. And I knew that there had to be change. I didn't believe that I would lose 100 pounds, but I knew I had to do something. I had to be willing to start somewhere. And so it was so crazy when you talk about no BS. So my birthday is October 11th, and I think it was like October 18th or 19th, an ad with Corinne Crabtree's picture came up, and I started listening to her free podcast like you did, and it was like the first person who told me I tough love works well for me. Like I don't want people to yes me to death. I want people to tell me real, and she did. Like and so that, with my 49th birthday and then that happening, I just knew it's time and I'm ready.
Hmm. So, with being ready and in your journey, what would you say is your biggest win that you've had?
I have two. And one is I stopped drinking on March 5th and it's been almost 6 years. So you have to do the math.
Good.
1999, 2019, not 1999.
That's a
Um,
lot to do for yourself. That's amazing.
yeah, and thank you, thank you. And then repairing relationships with my children, because growing up with a mom who is an alcoholic it's a tough life to grow up in, and learning that not only I need to forgive myself, I need to not only ask forgiveness and apologize, but also to be proof that I can do better. And when I know better, I did better. So those are my two biggest wins.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we also connected on that because my father was an alcoholic, drug addict, lots of violence in the house, which caught up with all those. I think that often leads people to think like, what's wrong with me? Right? When
Yeah.
you grow up with so much going on.
Mm.
Um, but with that and you learning that you must, just like myself, like I think we have to have multiple lessons that we've learned. There's not just one.
Oh,
But
right.
definitely what's like one of the lessons and gifts that you feel like you've received in this journey that you've had so far, because we're still always on it, right?
You're always on it. And it's so good that you mentioned that because you know what? Just because I'm in maintenance, the journey is not over. I am still
Right.
working every day. So, what is my big, I think it is that when on the days that I'm not perfect, or if I overeat, or, I just don't show up the way, it doesn't mean I wait till Monday. I don't wait till the beginning of the month. We get to make our next best decision. And it doesn't, and I think that that's so important because we spend so much time thinking that we need to be perfect. And
Mhm.
nobody's perfect, and it's our imperfections that make us, and our journey is unique. Everybody's journey is different.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important too, because when you say next best decision and getting up the next day, the thing too that I think it's important for everybody to learn, like, yes, we all want to lose weight. You've lost weight. I want to lose weight for being healthy and living as long as possible with my Kevin and my family and friends. But life is in this moment.
Mhm.
And regardless of your weight, regardless of where you're at, it life is so much more than what you just ate 2 seconds ago. It
Mhm.
truly is. And that's something to realize as well. Like finding your worth and your loving yourself in food or what you weigh is just so I don't know what the word is, but it's damaging because you're so much more than what your body looks like. And yes, we all, of course, have that and want that and have certain things we want to achieve for ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when it supersedes you being a mother or a sister or a wife or good at what you're doing to help people or whatever you are as a person instead of just your body size or look, that's really a big key too.
it
That's lost a lot because of outside voices, right?
it is. And I mean, I could have loved myself at 240 pounds just as much as I love myself at 145, but we don't believe that we can. Like there is something wrong with us. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with us. And we need to love ourselves in this moment because, you know, the number on the scale doesn't create the love and it doesn't create the life that we love. We create that no matter the number.
Absolutely. And I think too, people, especially people with weight issues or anything else that they're struggling with, if it's a drinking thing that they're looking to stop or smoking or anything that they're working, trying to change about a behavior that they're doing, people will say, I just don't care about myself enough, or I just don't love myself. But you do. If
Mm.
you're here listening to our podcast, or if you're listening to Mel Robbins, or if you're listening to know whatever you're doing, or if you're trying to go to a AA meet, whatever you're doing for yourself, you're doing something. So you do
Mhm.
love yourself to
Yeah,
show up in some way. It's just growing that love for yourself and nurturing it. And that is something that's really important to know that that's part of it. And great things will come when you realize that.
absolutely. I stopped to see somebody today and they were so down and they have they have self-esteem
Mhm.
issues that they're working on. And I said, just look at yourself in the mirror and you're not going to believe it to start. You may believe it a little, but that I that I love myself. I am enough. And I said, just keep practicing that because that belief will build. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I definitely have strengthened my love for myself over the years. Like when I would say, so my like, I don't know what you want to call it. Uh, what did they call it? Like rock bottom moment or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember it was 2014 and I got on the scale and I weighed 379 pounds and I was binging on McDonald's and whatever else I could get my hand on multiple times a day. I was super unhealthy and unhappy in my life. And just remember standing on that scale and seeing like I'm gonna be over 400 pounds if I do not do something.
Mm.
I did not feel the love for myself. I did not feel the fact that I could do it, but there was something little piece of me inside of me knew I deserved better than what I was giving myself.
Mm.
That's what you hold on to, and that's what you grow, and that's what you focus on. And every day just add something else to it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So I think this first episode, I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as we have. We're going to be sharing more about ourselves and our journey. And yeah, we're just so excited.
We are. I really want to just take a second to thank all of the family and friends. Like I thought the support was just overwhelming when I saw it on Facebook, and personal messages I received was really, really great and very encouraging. So I definitely hope this was a great. I've never podcasted, so this is super exciting for me. And when Debbie, we were just sitting at her kitchen table in New Hampshire in November, chatting like we do. And she's like, hey, you want to do a part? And it just sounded so great. So, with everybody's topics and questions they submitted, they're all written and on the list.
And let me tell you, we're not gonna hold anything back. We're gonna be truthful and honest because you do not get anywhere unless you are hearing the truth and living the truth.
Absolutely.
So,
Mhm.
speaking of the truth, next week we are gonna dish the truth on what do you do when you just don't feel like doing it anymore? You've been going and then you just give up,
Yep,
even without continuing on to see what can I do. So, we're going to talk to you about what we do to keep going when we don't want to.
absolutely. Yes.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you
See
all.
everybody next time.
Have a great day.
Bye.